when we approached the creation of the animals, the primary concern was that they feel like living things, like characters, not just a photograph of a tiger walking around randomly. If you ever watch a dog behave and just do its thing for 10 minutes, it's very scattered and unfocused. These are characters that need to play scenes, have emotions, hit beats, have dialogue with each other, and you're going to get into animation style and approach that isn't that can easily cross a line into a kind of cartoony or human being feeling if you're not careful, though. And so that starts with the design, and we based all the designs in naturalism first. A couple of the characters had very subtle cues from their voice actor, but actually there wasn't a lot of attempt to sort of make it an animal version of an actor that we know. It was more like, does this character have appeal just on his own, and does he feel real? Does it feel natural? Baloo is pushed a little bit in the face. The eyes are a little more, actually a little more dog-like than bear-like, which gives him a little more expressiveness. And that gives him a slightly more human relatable feeling automatically, but we didn't try to imprint human into the face. Bagheera, the panther, has a more stylized facial structure overall, just to give him some sort of more stately lines, and to give him a sort of default sternness in his expression. But like the wolves, for example, are quite straight wolves. They're very, quite naturalistic. We didn't try to add too much style to them. All the animals are large. They're much bigger than the real versions of those animals, and that kind of gives them a bigger presence on screen. And then you do lots of detail work all along the way in the fur and all the fine things to sort of add that level of realism. I knew when we started that we had great artists and a good track record of doing this kind of work. I don't think there's anything in the movie that we haven't done a variation on before. Effects, water, simulation, environments, characters. We've done all the work. The two main issues were size of show and this nature of shooting mostly a blue screen film and generating an entire world, and then connecting that to the photography of this kid. It's really hard to make any two photographs mesh with each other, two images mesh with each other. Normally we're shooting real material and then we add to it. In this case, it's an inverted relationship. You're shooting this tiny little thing and you have to create everything around it. And that was really what kept me up at night for the first year of the project. It was going to take a long time before all of the theory and practice would produce a result and we could see that it was actually going to work. And the danger, we would always have a beautiful, kind of cool, interesting movie, but the danger would be that if the movie became too graphic or stylized in the final image, which can happen if you don't have a good marriage of images, you end up adding contrast or too much saturation or kind of stylizing the picture in order to overcome those differences. You kind of have to stomp on it visually to force the images together. And so the danger would have been that the magic trick doesn't come off, that you don't believe it, and you would start to be in some weird, kind of animated movie with a kid put in the middle of it, and that would be the wrong feeling for the movie, and I just don't think the illusion would work. And this is one of those movies where the illusion has to work. You have to sort of believe this kid is standing there in that forest next to that animal, and they're talking, and there's life between them, and this is just another day in his life. If that doesn't work, I don't think the movie really works. So that for me was sort of the huge concern. And honestly, the biggest way we overcame that problem was in preparation. We had Rob Legato with us as VFX Soup. We had Bill Pope with us, our DP. Bobby Finley, our gaffer, doing our lighting. I mean, all these people understanding that challenge, taking the time before we shoot any scene to prepare the lighting, to know what the final image is intended to look like, and shoot very precisely for that. If we didn't have that collaboration and that commitment before the shoot, and we just shot stuff and figured it out later, I don't think the movie would work. And then you have to take that intention back to this crew at MPC, and you have 800 people, actually more, that have to take all those plans, all that design intention, and take it right to the end of the line. And so you get into a lot of logistics, and you get into a lot of tech support and software and practicalities of just how to do so much work. Because we had something on the order of 240 million render hours on this thing. If you put a single computer on it, it's thousands of years to render this thing. I mean, the scale of the computational power, alone, and all the people behind the scenes who are just making the technology possible, the artists who are willing to sit there and place thousands of plants and craft an environment, moss and grasses everywhere and little vines hanging everywhere, and then the people who have to take that and light it, the animator who's willing to sit there and listen to the same line of dialogue for 3 weeks and just hone the emotion perfectly. I mean, you have so much dedication that just with time and practice you get there, But in the middle, you got something that big and it's so critical that the magic trick works, it can be pretty scary in the middle of the process. What I like about FMX, from what I've seen, is you have a really cool mixture of student population and great speakers coming from professional studios who've just done something cool and noteworthy, and then a broad range of technology people demonstrating cool stuff, and recruitment opportunities, like studios looking for those students and for the next talented wave of artists coming out of Europe especially. And that's a great mix, it's a nice size, and there's a pretty cool vibe in the air. Everybody seems really enthusiastic, and that's cool because it feels like the right blend of commercial interests, genuine enthusiasm for what you're doing, and kind of passing on information. Because in the end, it is a big, wider community, and what we're doing year on year, we're asked to do more and more in this industry when it comes to animation, digital filmmaking, virtual production, computer graphics in general, and this new era of filmmaking and all the forms that you're seeing. It is a community, so it's really cool when you get a mixture that represents a nice cross-section like this.